Krishna Parabrahmane Namaha. Previously, we understood the essence of Omkara, the root cause of Omkara, the factors of Omkara. Afterwards, the glory and greatness of Omkara. That means Omkara has its own glory and its own greatness. Such a Omkara is depicted in all the Shastras and sciences. Without Omkara, there is no work. Without Omkara, there is no mantra. Without Omkara, nothing is there. No Bijakshara, no Stotra can be written without Omkara. Such Omkara is used in Gita and Upanishads and Yoga Shastra. That's today I want to discuss. First Omkara, we got introduction. Second Omkara topic, we got the greatness and glory of Omkara. Now today we are getting the depiction of Omkara in Bhagavad-Gita, Upanishads and Yoga Shastra. Bhagavad-Gita starts with Omkara. Om Shri Bhagavan Uvacha. Omkara is so mainly used in Bhagavad-Gita. When you utter the Omkara, we can just close our eyes and think of Lord Krishna, say Omkara, definitely Krishna will appear. There is a power is there in Omkara mantra. When you come to Yoga Shastra, Patanjali Yoga Shastra, there is the need and essential of Omkara. Each and every bit in the Patanjali Yoga sought the assistance of Omkara. Omkara became a root for the fruit of Patanjali Yoga. Without Omkara, there is no Yoga Shastra, Yoga Asanas, whatever these things. Therefore, especially in Yoga Shastra, Omkara is used deliberately and frequently to attain the cosmical energy. Let us come to the Upanishads. Generally, there are 108 Upanishads. Among 108, there are 10 major Upanishads. What are they, no? Ishakena Kata Prashna Mundamandukyatitirihi Aitareyogancha Chandogyam Brihadaranyako Isha Upanishad, Kena Upanishad, Kathopanishad, Prashnopanishad, Mundakopanishad, Mandukyopanishad, Aitareyopanishad, Chandogyopanishad, Taitiropanishad, Brihadaranyaka. These 10 Upanishads emphasized much about Pranava, the three-lettered Bijakshara, A, U, Ma, Omkara. Especially in Upanishads, the importance of Omkara is deliberately explained and freely used and gave stress for the importance of Omkara in Upanishads. Whatever the Upanishad may be. All Upanishads are based on the syllable Omkara. Such Omkara Bijakshara. Such mantra is predominantly used in Gita, Yoga Shastra, and 10 Upanishads. So, I thought of to bring your notice in detail about this topic. Today I chose a topic Om in Gita, Yoga and Upanishads because we have to know where and all, what and all utility is there. Om ityekaksharam brahma vyaharan mamanusmaran yaha prayati tyajan deham sayati paramam gatim. After being situated in this yoga practice and vibrating the sacred syllable Om, the supreme combination of letters Uma, if one thinks of the supreme personality of Godhead and quits his body, he will certainly reach the spiritual planets. It is clearly stated here that Om, Brahman and Lord Krishna are not different. Understand? Three are equal. When you attain Omkara, you see Brahma. When you attain Omkara, Lord Krishna. Say Lord Krishna, Omkara or Brahma. If you attain the word of Brahman, Omkara, Krishna appears. No difference between the three. The impersonal sound of Krishna is Om. But the sound Hare Krishna contains Om. It is clearly recommended in this age that if one quits his body at the end of this life chanting at Mahamantra Hare Krishna, he will reach the spiritual planets. Similarly, those who are devotees of Krishna enter the Krishna planet, that is called Goloka, Vrindavan. Whereas the impersonalists remain in the Brahma Jyoti. The personalists also enter many innumerable planets in the spiritual sky known as Vaikuntha. Sanatana Dharma, the eternal religion, is based on the direct experience of the sages of primeval India as well as corroborating experiences of yogis throughout thousands of years. Originally, all spiritual teachings were committed to memory, but in time they were written down to ensure their correct transmission. Simple it is. Sanatana Dharma in its purity is found in 12 basic texts. What are they? Isha, Kena, Khata, Prashna, Mundaka, Mandukya, Taittiriya, Aitareya, Chandogya, Brihadaranyaka, Shvetashvatara, Upanishads and Bhagavad-Gita. This last text is a digest and exposition of Upanishadic philosophy with emphasis on its practical application. Another book, the Yoga Sutras of Patanjali, presents the practical inner way to experience and manifest the truths of the Upanishads and the Gita. Gita means Bhagavad-Gita. Although Om is to be found in each Upanishad, at least as a part of the opening and closing mantras of blessing, 8 of them have sections dealing with Om itself. Let us go through the Upanishads. First, let us see Brihadaranyaka Upanishad. Om is Brahman, the primal being. This is the Veda which the knowers of Brahman know. Through it one knows what is to be known. Om is self-revealing divinity. It is the supreme scripture through which we come to know what is to be known, namely Brahman. That says Brihadaranyaka. What about Chandogya Upanishad? It says about Omkara, one should meditate on this syllable Om, for that is a quintessence of essences, the supreme, the highest. Speech and breath are joined together in the syllable Om. Verily, whenever the pair come together, they fulfill each other's desire. He who knowing this thus meditates on the syllable becomes verily a fulfiller of desires. This is why Om is meditated upon by joining its repetition to the breath, and why it is called the Pranava, the breath word. The Upanishad continues with the expression of Omas, the power of fulfillment, saying, verily this syllable is of assent. For whenever one assents to anything, he says simply Om. What is assent is fulfillment. He who knowing this thus meditates on the syllable becomes verily a fulfiller of desires. Saying Om, one recites. Saying Om, one orders. Saying Om, one sings aloud in honor of that syllable with its greatness and its essence. He who knows this does, and he who knows not, both perform with it. Knowledge and ignorance, however, are different. What indeed one performs with knowledge, faith, and meditation, that indeed becomes more powerful. This verily is the explanation of this syllable Om. A little later, the Upanishad returns to the power of Om to fulfill desires, saying, he obtains wishes by singing. Who knowing this meditates on Udgita as a syllable. This with regard to the self, that is, those who desiring to know the self meditate upon Om will surely attain self-knowledge. This sound is that syllable, the immortal, the fearless. He who knows that this praises this syllable, takes refuge in that syllable, in the immortal, fearless sound, and having entered it, he becomes immortal. The Upanishadic sages had much to say about the sun as a source of life, teaching that all sentient beings have come into the physical plan through the sun, which is a gateway to the astral realms. The souls that have evolved beyond the need for earthly experience pass back through the sun to higher worlds, exalted worlds. Even more, the sages identified with Om, saying, now verily what is the Udgita is the Om. What is Om is the Udgita. And solely the Udgita is the yonder sun and the Om, for the sun is continually sounding Om. One should meditate on the breath in the mouth as the Udgita, for it's continually sounding Om. Since our soul is always breathing Om, by intoning Om in time with the breath, we put ourselves in tune with the very wellspring of our existence, linking up with our innermost consciousness. Now, verily, what is the Udgita is a Pranava. What is Pranava is Udgita. Again the same. If one knows this, verily from the seat of the Hotray priest, all wrong singing is corrected. Negative karma is a major concern of those seek liberation means moksha, for it ties us to the wheel of constant birth and death. Symbolically speaking, we sing our life's directions as does the hotry priest and often make mistakes, but through Om, all wrong singing is corrected. This is the Gita, Om, highest and the best. This is endless. He who knowing this meditates. On Gita, the highest and the best becomes the highest and best and obtains the highest and best worlds. When Atidhanvan Shunaka are taught this Udgita to Udara Saundilya, he also said, as long as they shall know this Udgita among your descendants, so long their life in this world will be the highest and the best. And so will their state in that other would be one who thinks, knows or mediates. His life in this world becomes the highest and the best. And so his state in the other world, Om glorifies both this life and the life beyond. Speaking of the final exit of soul from the body, the Upanishad says, even as a great extending highway runs between two villages, this one and that yonder, they start from the yonder sun. When a man departs from this body, then he goes upwards by these various rays, or he goes up with the thought of Om. As his mind is failing, he goes to the sun. That verily is the gateway of the world, and entering in for the knowers, of shutting out for the non-knowers. Now again, what about Omkara in Kathopanishad? In the Kathopanishad, we find profoundest teachings on the true self and its destiny. The inquirer is asked to be taught of the transcendent reality. The answer he receives is this: I will tell you briefly of the goal, which all the Vedas with one voice propound, which all the astrology speak of, and wishing for which people practice discipline. It is Om. To be very colloquial, Om it. Though absolute unity, God is seemingly dual, transcendent and immanent. With form and without form, with qualities without qualities, higher and lower Brahman. So the Upanishad says, Om indeed is the lower Brahman, this is indeed the higher Brahman also. Anyone who meditating on Om wishes either of the two aspects, by him that is attained. Om is both transcendent and immanent. In whichever plan we wish to abide, Om is the basis, the illuminator, the key to comprehension and mastery. Furthermore, we can meditate on God with form, Saguna Brahma, and without form, Nirguna Brahma, God with attributes with a single mantra, Om. Logically, then the Upanishad concludes the Om is the best means of attaining or getting realization. This means is the higher and lesser Brahman. Meditating on Om, one becomes worthy of worship in the world of Brahman. Om is that which transforms us, elevating our consciousness to the realm of the divine and establish it therein. Now, Mandukya Upanishad. Om. This syllable is all this. All that is the past and the present and the future, all this is only the syllable Om. From the original sound, Om, all things have come into manifestation as its extension embodiments. Everything that has ever existed now exists or shall exist. The expansion of Om. Om is all embracing eternity, containing and transcending past, present and future. There is nothing but Om. That being true, the Upanishad then says, the self means Atman, is of the nature of the syllable Om. Thus the syllable Om is the very self. He who knows it thus enters the self with himself. By means of Om, the eternal wave merges into the eternal sea. Mundaka Upanishad. What it says? The Mundaka Upanishad speaks further on the meditation, taking as a bow the great weapon of the Upanishads, Om. One should place in the arrows sharpened by meditation, drawing it with a mind engaged in the contemplation of that. Oh, beloved, know that imperishable Brahman as the target. The power of Om is emphasized by calling it a great weapon. Its intent and effect are serious and mighty, nothing less than union with the Absolute. It is called the great weapon of the Upanishads, to indicate that Om and Om alone is the effective means recommended by the scriptures of eternal Dharma for the realization of God. The japa and meditation of Om impel the consciousness of the yogi towards the goal, Brahman. Moreover, it is a medication of the Om that sharpens the consciousness and renders it capable of union with Brahman. The syllable Om is a bow, oneself, indeed is arrow. Brahman is spoken as the target of that. It is to be hit without making a mistake. Thus one becomes limited or united with it. With it means Brahman. As the arrow becomes one with the target, it is Om that ensures we will unerringly reach the goal. He in whom the sky, the earth and the interspace are woven, as also the mind along as though self, diminishing or dismissing other utterances. This Om is a bridge to immortality. The He is in this verse is Om itself, which is Brahman. It is oneself. To drive the point home that Om is the sole means of uniting with Brahman. The Upanishad says absolutely and flat-footedly, dismiss other utterances, all other japa mantras. Why? Because only Om is the way to immortality. Therefore, meditate on Om as the self. May you be successful in crossing over to the farther shore of darkness. Prashna Upanishad. Living in the world of gadgetry, from mouse traps to atom bombs, one of the most frequent questions we reasonably ask is, does it work? According to Prashna Upanishad, Om that sharpens the consciousness and renders it capable of union with Brahman. The syllable Om is a bow, oneself indeed is the arrow. Brahman is spoken of as the target of that. It is to be hit without making a mistake. Thus one becomes senated or united with it as arrows become sharp. Satyakama, son of Sibi, asked the sage Pippalada once. What he asked? Venerable sir, what word does he would meditate on Om until the end of his life mean by that? To him he said, that which is the sound Om, O Satyakama, it is verily the higher and the lower Brahman. Therefore, with the support alone does the wise man reach the one or the other. If he meditates on the Supreme Being, means Paramapurusha, with the syllable Om, he becomes one with the light, the sun. He is led to the world of Brahman. He sees a person and dwells in the body. Who is higher than the highest life? That the wise one attains even by the mere sound Om as support, that which is the tranquil, unaging, immortal, fearless and supreme. Om does it all. Shvetashvataro Upanishad. Om is the Supreme Brahman, and in it are the trade means the individual soul, the cosmos and the cosmic soul. It is the film support, the imperishable. The knowers of Brahman, by knowing what is therein, become merged in Brahman, intent thereon, and freed from birth. Om unites with us God and tree from rebirth. As a form of fire when latent in its source is not seen and yet its seed is not destroyed, but may be seized again and again in its source by means of the drill means pointed stick word to produce fire for the Vedic sacrifices. So it is in both cases. The self has to be seized in the body by means of the syllable Om, by making one's body the lower friction stick and the syllable Om the upper friction stick. By practicing the friction of the meditation, one may see the hidden God as it were. Here we may see a hint of the practice of interesting or integrating our intonations of Om with the breath, as well as the way our awareness may be drawn to various points in the body during meditation. It also points out that the japa and meditation of Om are not confined to our spiritual makeup, but affects our whole being, including the body. The knower of the real nature of Brahman, that is identical with the pranava, after keeping his body erect by holding the three parts, means the chest, neck, and the head in an upright posture, placing all the organs of perception and action along with the mind in his heart, should cross all the formidable streams of samsara with the ferry boat of the pranava. Heart in this verse means the self, the core of our being, rather than the physical heart or the heart of chakra. The idea is that through meditating on Om, all the streams or the faculties of our mind become merged in the consciousness of this self. This is perfect enlightenment. So the Upanishad also says God is a syllable Om, out of him proceeds the supreme knowledge. The same, the sober voice of Upanishadic rishis assures us that through the simple japa and meditation of the Om, all possible spiritual attainment will be realized. He who knows Om need know nothing further, declares the Mandukya Upanishad. Now, Taittiriya Upanishad. Om is Brahman. Om is all this. He who utters Om with the intention, I shall attain Brahman, does verily attain Brahman. How glorious is Om! It is the power of enlightenment. What about Bhagavad-Gita? The supreme sage Vyasa, in order to give us a complete picture of all Upanishadic wisdom as well as the way to apply it in our life, so we may attain the same vision of our the passes who authored them, wrote the Bhagavad-Gita based on the instructions given by Krishna to Arjuna on the eve of the great Indian Mahabharata war on the battlefield of Kurukshetra. Om is a central element in Krishna's exposition of spiritual life and practice. Speaking from his perspective as the infinite being, enumerating his major manifestation, embodiments, and Krishna says, I am the syllable Om. Rasoham apsu kaunteya prabhasmi rasashi suryayo pranavas sarva vedeshu shabdhakke paurusham drushu. I am the taste in the water, O son of Kunti, and the radiance of the sun and the moon. I am the sacred syllable Om in the Vedic mantras. I am the sound in ether and the ability in humans. Among words, I am the monosyllable Om. The meaning is that Om is not a symbol of God. It is God. What do with the Om is then outlined by Krishna. Engage in the practice of concentration, uttering the monosyllable Om, the Brahman, remembering me always, he attains to the supreme goal. I am easily attainable by that ever steadfast yogi who constantly and daily remember me. Now, Yoga Shastra and Patanjali. The Yoga Darshan of Patanjali is a prime authority on yoga outside the Upanishads and Bhagavad-Gita. Here are its words in God and Yoga. Ishvara is a particular Purusha who is untouched by the afflictions of life, actions, and results and impressions produced by these actions. In him is the highest limit of the omniscience. In him becomes infinite that all knowingness, which in others is only a germ said by Swami Vivekananda. Being unconditioned by time, he is a teacher, even the ancient. He is a designator in Pranava. His manifest word is Om. Its japa and meditation is the way. From its results come the disappearance of obstacles and is a turning inward of consciousness, disease, languor, doubt, carelessness, laziness, worldly mindedness, delusion, non-achievement of a stage, instability. These cause the destruction of the mind and they are the obstacles. Mental pain, despair, nervousness and agitation are the symptoms of distracted condition of the mind. For removing these obstacles, there should be the constant practice of the one principle, the japa and meditation of Om. No problem at all. That completes the picture. We need only heed of the instruction. Having known what is said in the ordinance of the scriptures, you should act her here in this world. Thus, Srikantai Kalyananade Nidram Shri Venkata Nimasaya Srinivasaya Mangalam Mangalasasvari Vadacharya Purokme Sarveshu Urvairacharya Sadgurudaya Mangalam.